covering the High Plains with news, weather, and information. From TV 23 Studios in Sublette, this is High Plains Today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this special edition of High Plains Today. I'm joined by Senator John Dahl. He is the representative to the Kansas State Senate, District 39, lives in Garden City. You cover 10 counties. 10. That's a lot of counties.
A lot of counties.
And you're getting ready to head back, first part of January, for the next session, Kansas legislature, and you got a lot to do.
We do.
There's a lot happened this summer.
There was a lot happened this summer. There was a lot from our previous session. I thought our previous session was, of the 5 years I've been up there, was probably the most productive session that we've had in the time I've been up there. You know, we were able to start turning around the
I was going to say, so is that due to all the changes of new senators and representatives that have all come in?
It absolutely is, because we were able to get over the veto. And the reason we got over the veto was the new people in the House, the new people in the Senate, you know, and we need 27 to get over a veto in the Senate. We had 25 for Medicaid expansion, but on the tax bill, we were able to get 27. And in the House, they got to 84. They need 83, I believe. And so, you know, it was very tight, and it was the pressure is pretty extreme. You can get all these emails that they're going to, you know, the postcards as you've received. You know, I think my representative is John Wheeler. And at one time, we both had 2 postcards sent against us. My election's not for 3 years. I can't understand why they're postcarding me already, but whatever they do, that's fine. But now John's up to 5, so I take mine and always have him sign them for me, because it's just, and we know when we make that vote that we are going to get postcarded. We know that they're going to send out all the emails, the American Prosperity and that group, which they're more than welcome to do. I don't understand it, but we had to make a change. Direction we're going.
Okay, so this tax plan that everybody was so critical of, especially on the far right, was, you know, Kansas earnings tax revenues and stuff are up from where we were a year ago, are they not?
About 150 million.
Well, that's not just walking around money.
It's pretty good money, and what we're dealing with the education aspect and such. Yeah. That's nice. We think April 15th is going to be pleasant. We have no idea what it's going to be, but hopefully, you know, if we're really lucky, that's going to be enough to really take care of the school, or we're short on schools. And now,
okay, so you bring up school, because you're on the education committee.
Yes.
You're the vice chair.
The vice chair.
You're the second in charge, man.
Well,
you're a big dog.
No, that means I get to ring the bell and take attendance and such. It's not a big deal.
That's back to your teaching and coaching days, isn't it? But now, is that going to be the first big white elephant in the room? Because, you know, the Supreme Court came out this summer and said, not enough money. And you guys have till, what, April 30th to submit a plan to the Supreme Court again? Right. To say, okay, how's this?
That's going to be a big elephant in the room. I think the initial big elephant in the room is who's in charge. You know, we're right now, we kind of have 2 governors. And so I think who's going to do the State of the Union address? You know, is it going to be Governor Brownback, or is it going to be Governor Colyer? Because right now they seem to both be governor, you know, in our
That's true, because Governor Brownback, I mean, he is what? You said he's turned over all the budget duties and that stuff to Lieutenant Governor Colyer, right?
Exactly.
But he's done, and he's still living in the big house. He's done everything but sign the paper that says, I'm done.
Right. He had Colyer, Lieutenant Governor Colyer, appoint the new Secretary of DCF, the Department of Children and Families. So, not sure what Governor Brownback's doing right now. But you know, that's not me. It's not my worry. My worry is, but I'm kind of interested. You know, the State of the Union address, the State of the State address, this is always the first Wednesday of when we get back, so that'd be like the 10th.
Yeah, because you guys go in there and gavel in on Monday and go, hi, how's everybody? And then Wednesday, somebody comes in and speaks.
It's supposed to give us the outline of how the executive branch wants us to go through this particular session. So it's kind of important on who gives that. And, no one knows. It's you could talk, it's anybody's guess. It's a flip of a coin. And it's, so I think dealing with school finance is much more important than who gives the state. But is Lieutenant Governor Coyer going to operate differently than Governor Brownback? We don't know. It's going to be interesting. Governor Coyer is running for governor, and Governor Brownback's approval rating in Kansas is not stellar by any means. So at some point in time, Coyer, if he's real interested in running for governor, needs to separate himself. He needs to show that he's different than Governor Brownback. And the State of the Union would be, or State of the State, I keep saying State of the Union.
Yeah, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, the State of the State is a very important time on who gives that because, like I said, that's the outline for that particular legislative session.
Okay, so now, and this year, you have to do a budget, right?
No, we did that last year.
Oh, you did that last year?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, all right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about that. We'll talk a little bit about education. We'll talk about KDOT. You get all kinds of stuff going on. All right, stick around. John and I will be back right after this.
You're watching High Plains Today on TV 23 with host Chris Jewell. TV23's internet service and 4G live streaming provided by United Wireless. Coverage you deserve. Service you expect. United Wireless.
Hi, I'm Chris Jewell, host of High Plains Today, a 30-minute news and information program that airs at noon weekdays right here on TV 23. Hey, do you think you have an idea for something that would make a great segment? Somebody that would make a great interview? What about a community event that needs highlighting? Let us know here at the station. Email us news@kdgltv.com. And welcome back. I'm joined in studio today on this special edition of High Plains Today. John Dahl, he is the senator for the state of Kansas, District 39. We're talking about everything that's coming up in January. You got a lot of it. And the first thing we talked about is, okay, we're not sure who the governor is because you've got Governor Brownback, who still hasn't been confirmed, or he's not even out of committee yet, is he?
No.
As far as being ambassador to religious freedoms?
Yeah, it passed out of the committee by one, I believe.
Oh, it's out of committee now.
Yeah,
Okay, so now it's gone to the Senate floor?
Yeah, right.
Okay, but the Democrats are kind of holding him up a little bit.
Well, that, and then there's some Republicans, too, that it's, if it was just a Democrat-Republican thing, he'd win 52 to 48 because
Well,
that's what
true,
if it
yeah.
went party lines. So, and I don't know what's holding it up. I mean, that's something you would have to ask Senator Moran or Senator Roberts. I try to keep in what I'm supposed to keep
That's in
into.
Washington. We don't want to have to worry about that, right?
Yeah, I have enough things on my plate.
But you've got, so we were talking about State of the State coming up on the Wednesday after you guys gavel in. We don't know who's going to give that address, whether it's going to be Lieutenant Governor Collier or Governor Brownback, or maybe it'll be Governor Collier by then. We don't know.
Chris, it could be you.
Not going to be me. Trust me, it's not going to be me. I'm not running. And don't even write my vote. Don't write me in either. Okay, so once you get this outline from the governor, then you'll have kind of an idea where you're going to go for education spending, right? Since the Supreme Court said, nope, not enough money, boys. You need to get some more in the kids.
It gives us, what it is it gives us direction. That's not necessarily where we're going to end up going. Because I think the will of most of the legislators is to satisfy the courts because we don't want schools to close. And this time, with it being pushed in April 30th, they've always threatened to close it July 1. Well, they could close it May 1, which, it would be a lot more of an impact publicly because you have kids. The sooner that we get this dealt with is the better because the schools have to write up their budgets for the following year also. So this needs to be taken care of. We've dragged this on long enough. We need to get it so we can go on with life. We can turn that page. It's time to move on.
Well, yeah, because schools are going to have their budgets in place and okayed and voted on by by the first part of July when their new
Exactly.
year starts, just like you guys.
And they got to know what they can pay teachers. They got to know what, what books they can buy or whatever they need to get, buses they need to get. That all has to be done. And so they have to have their direction, and we
so
gotta
it's
give it to
really
them.
it's a better thing though that the court said, all right, April 30th this time, get your homework done.
Even April 1 would have been good. We know what we need to do. And we're going to string it along as we can. That's what we have done the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We need to, whether you like it or you don't like it, it's like when your parents tell you to clean your room. You might not like it, but if you want to eat that night, you're going to clean your room. Yeah. We need to get it taken care of so we can turn the page and move on.
Yeah, because you got a lot of other stuff.
We have a lot
going
of other things, yes.
Because, so once you get past education, if that's the first thing up, you've got Medicaid, CanCare coming around, and you've got a lot of people over here that say, no, we're not doing anything with that expansion, including the current governor. And you got over here that, no, we need to do that because that's going to bring another $2 billion into the state coffers, and it's not going to jeopardize small rural hospitals in western Kansas or affect 400,000 Kansans, right?
It's a huge policy, and especially for us in western Kansas, because it's not a matter if the hospitals close. It's when they're going to close. And we're talking about your Yucatans, your Ulysses, your Tribunes, your Stanton counties, all those hospitals. They will not be able to survive. I don't believe. I could be wrong. Hopefully I am. Without Medicaid expansion.
What about, and then you look at in southwest Kansas, western Kansas, there are 3 bigger hospitals because you have St. Catherine in Garden City, and you have Western Plains in Dodge City, and Southwest Medical Center in Liberal that are all bigger sized hospitals. Is it going to affect them any?
It's going to impact them, but to what degree, I don't know. I don't know the finances of Liberal and Dodge City. I know Garden City pretty well. I stay in close contact with Scott Taylor, the CEO there, and he definitely wants Medicaid expansion, as all your CEOs of all your hospitals want. But it would make it. It would survive, but I don't know what impact it would have positively or negatively with Medicaid expansion. They won't be as adversely affected if we don't pass it, but the other ones will close. And if you have a stroke and you're in Syracuse and you're an hour away from Garden City, they say your
That's
first
valuable time.
35 minutes is the most.
Valuable time.
Yeah, first 35 minutes is.
Well, and besides that, a lot of these smaller hospitals like Bob Wilson in Ulysses and the Satana District Hospital, they have assisted living centers that they work with that are kind of tied to the hospital. And I mean, those could eventually go away also, correct?
And the impact on the community themselves, in most communities, it's the second, third largest employer. In some of the communities, it's the largest employer. Once that hospital goes away, it'll never come back. Those jobs are going to go away. They're not going to. So your people downtown that depend on them eating at the restaurants or shopping at the local grocery store or buying gas, they're going to be gone. And it's the negative. It's like when you close your school. You close your school, and it seems like that little town just shrivels up and dies for the most part. Well, it's going to be the same with the hospital because it employs, in a lot of these, as many as the school employs. And you're going to lose half your employees of, your second largest employer of that city or that county, and it's going to be devastating.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the second elephant in the room, isn't it?
Well, I think there's a third. Then we got the governor, and then we had education and Medicaid.
All right, so now we're on Medicaid. Okay, so stay right there because when John and I come back, we're going to talk about the Bank of KDOT. That'll make 4 elephants right there.
That's for a lot of elephants.
All right, stick around. John and I'll be back right after this. Hi, Chris Jewell, host of High Plains Today, a 30-minute news and information program that airs weekdays at noon right here on TV 23. We talk about news, we talk about sports, we talk about weather, we're even going to talk entertainment. We'll have live guests right here on set with me. So, every day at noon, Tune in, High Plains Today. We'll see you then.
Weekdays here on TV 23.
And welcome back to this special edition of High Plains Today. He is Senator John Dahl, District 39, Kansas State Senate. And we've been talking about the zoo, which is Topeka, because we've talked about 3 elephants, because we're not sure who the governor is yet. We don't know who it's going to be when you guys gavel in. We've been talking about education, and we've been talking about Medicaid expansion. All right, here comes the fourth biggie, KDOT. The Bank of KDOT. Over the last 2-3 years, have they taken $2 billion with a B out of KDOT's budget, correct?
I think of last 2 years, if you go back to last 5 years, it's 3-point-some billion.
Oh, wow.
You know, after the last 5 years, it's been bad.
All right. So where does KDOT go from here? Because we have the T-Works program that is supposed to be coming to an end, but it's not, right?
I hope not.
Well, I can't.
We have, that we still have 9 counties that haven't had the $6 million influx of infrastructure built up yet. And so until that happens.
So out of the 105 counties, every county was supposed to get at least some sort of a $6 million project,
right.
Correct?
That was what we were promised when we passed that tax.
So right now we've got 96 of them done and 9 left. How many of those are in western Kansas?
Well, 4 of them are in my district. I'm not sure what are in Rick's. And when they come and spoke to us at Ways and Means, I more than happily pointed that out to them, that I am going to be a squeaky wheel, and I will not be quiet until all of my counties at least get taken care of.
So you have 4 of your 10 counties that have seen nothing yet.
No, they haven't. They haven't got. I'm not sure if it's nothing. I know they haven't gotten what.
Well, they haven't gotten their $6 million worth.
And to me, it's just not. What they tell me, well, their highways are fine. They're this, that, and the other.
Wait, Donna, who tells you that?
Well, that's what KDOT tells me,
okay.
and I would tell them I could point out some bridges, I could point out some roads. And if they would just come down here, I could show them where we could do this. And it's just not the highways and the bridges, which are critically important. Infrastructure is so important for our economy out here in western Kansas because of ag. But the influx that it would have on our local businesses, because the hotels, the restaurants, the grocery store, when these people come down here to do that work. So the secondary, $1 that's spent in your town turns over in that community 7 times.
Right.
So the economic loss that they have because they didn't get what was promised to them when we passed this tax, the impact isn't good. And we need to do what we say we were going to do.
All right, so if we go back 3-4 years, and we're talking $3 billion, how do you, as a legislator, look at this and go, how the heck are we going to make that up?
Well, if we would just, the money that goes into KDOT would be more than enough to take care of it. In fact, we have been taking money from KDOT forever. I mean, it's always been, but not at this level that we're taking it from them now. Constitutionally, we have that there's a nickel gas tax that goes in that constitutionally has to stay in and be done for highways and roads. Currently, that's about all the money we're spending on KDOT. There's other monies that come in all these other areas. That's the money that's been swept out of KDOT. That, if we would just keep that money in, KDOT would have too much money, actually. So what we have to do is...
No, don't say that. Don't say they'd have too much.
We could, what we could do is then cut some of our gas taxes.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. When I go around, travel in my district, and I talk to people, and what we did this last year with this tax increase, I think we're turned the road. We got to find the sweet spot where we're not paying too much taxes, but we're paying enough taxes that we can take care of the core functions of government. There are just 5 of them, and infrastructure being one of them, and education being one of them. We have to take care of those core functions. Once we do that, I've told my friends in 2020, I think if we continue the direction that we started last year, we'll be sitting at a round table at a restaurant somewhere, drinking a cup of coffee, and we're going to say, boy, that last decade sure stinks. Sure glad we turned it around. Because we're going the right direction now. And in this election that we're having next year, with our representatives and our governor is, I'm not up for election. So it doesn't make me any difference. But for the good of the state, it's so important that we keep going the direction that we started going last year in order to make this state good. And and the headlines aren't about state government. We want to make state government boring again. It used to be so boring because it was just doing its job.
And it has been since you guys, when you passed that tax bill last year, in the beginning, there was a lot of grumbling and, I'll never vote for you again, in the postcards coming out, etc. But, since things have started to turn around a little bit, that really hasn't been at the forefront as much as it used to be.
Well, Chris, maybe not for you, but you're not running it. Certainly,
That's true. That's true. But it's not that big a headline in the news anymore.
Yeah, but the tax bill we passed last year is still less than the income tax they were paying prior to 2012. It's still less than that. If we would have continued that and made that kind of a cut instead of the drastic cut we made in 12, my assumption is that this last year we could have cut income tax even more. We could have cut it a little bit. You just can't do things in extremes. And Kansans are common sense people. And when we start doing things at extremes, whether it's your politics, whether it's your religion, whether it's your anything, you're usually it's not going to turn out well for you. And that's with KDOT, we're taking all the money out. We have, I don't know how many bridges. It's well over 1,000 bridges that won't pass an inspection right now.
All right, so you speak of that, and you're going to, they're up there, they're trying to pull these funds out of KDOT every year.
They're not trying, they're doing pretty good.
Okay, they've done a really good job, $3 billion worth. But still, in order for you guys to balance the budget, you've had to go in and sweep all these one-time funds. Are there any left?
There's one, and it's the Children's Initiative Fund, and a lot of my colleagues have got that in their bullseye. They've tried to take that thing, and we've been able to starve that off. And that fund is so important. A lot of my colleagues said we could have balanced the budget last year without raising tax. In order for them to do that, they would have had to sweep the money out of the Children's Initiative Fund. The governor wanted to sweep the money out of the Children's Initiative Fund. All right, so
and that fund is used for what? Head Start, education in children, the Russell Child Development, all these other nonprofit organizations that are so important to helping educate and keep our kids healthy and safe, right?
Oh, the money is so important. And it comes from, we get this money because of the tobacco settlement fund. And now they want to take that. So what we would have been able to do is balance the budget again last year without raising taxes. What are we going to do this year? We would have been out of all one-time money.
All I can say is, come January, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch because we talked about 4 elephants today. And you know what? I'll bet you more show up.
I bet it could. And you know, it's you don't want to go up there and not have nothing to do. We have plenty of work to do.
You're going to have plenty to do, John. Thanks for coming by today.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Talking to you.
They have such fun.
All right. And thanks for tuning into this special edition of High Plains Today. We'll see you right here next time.
Keep up to date with the latest information from TV 23 on our Facebook page, KDGL TV.